I'm going to show you guys how to recreate the bass from Ecco2k Calcium. Okay, so before I start the video, I just want to let you guys know that the preset is going to be available for free on my website, so if you want to go ahead and download that, you can. But yeah, I just want to show you guys how I recreated this bass step by step inside of Serum. So I actually got a request from one of the comments in my videos. I think it was the making a synth brass video, and someone asked if I could remake the bass from Ecco2k Calcium. I hope I'm saying that right. I haven't heard the song, or I'm not really too familiar with the artist, but I typed up the name on YouTube. I would play the original here, but I don't want to get copyright strike. If you guys want to, it's called Ecco2k Calcium. I think it's by... Okay, so the name is literally Ecco2k. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just so, like, not educated on it, but the artist name is Ecco2k. Oh, gosh. But yeah, anyways, after listening to the song, it's a really good song, I was like, I want to see if I can actually try and recreate the sound from the intro. And this was the final sound that I got. And I was actually surprised by like how simple the melody was, but it's very catchy. And so I'm just going to show you what's inside of this MIDI. So the notes that he used were A sharp, C1, and D1, and it's just those three notes, and so it sounds like this. And this is where it loops. So that part goes on for a full bar, and then it goes dun 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 dun, and then it loops again. Like, it's really simple and it's very catchy, and especially with the lyrics over it. I think I'm also going to include the MIDI inside of the preset thing as well, so that way you guys can just drag and drop and use it. So yeah, let's try and recreate the sound from scratch inside of Serum. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is just duplicate this MIDI sequence thing. I'm going to drag it over here. And then I'm going to drag our Serum inside of this MIDI track. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is actually come down here to the unison and turn the voices to 2. And then for our detune knob, I'm going to double click on that and type in 0.18. And then I'm going to come down here to our envelope 1, double click on that, and type in 22 milliseconds, or just 22. And then for our release, I'm going to turn that up to about like halfway, which is like 1 second, I think. So it was a pretty slow release and a pretty slow attack time. Now for our LFO 1, I'm going to come over here and create a shape something like this, where it's kind of has a little bit of an attack here. And then I'm going to make a little bit of a slope, kind of like this. Also, make sure envelope is turned on for the LFO mode, so that way it doesn't keep looping back over and over again. And then we're going to come over here to our filter and turn that on, and we're just going to leave it at low 12. For our cutoff, I'm going to double click and set it to 70 Hertz. And then now I'm going to come over here to our LFO 1 and modulate the cutoff by 25%, so 25. And so now it should sound something like this. And that's going to be it for our first part of the preset. Now we're going to go ahead and move on to the effects. So for our effects, the first thing that I used was an EQ. Then I use a high pass filter. Double click on the frequency and I set it to around 175 Hertz. Also went ahead and turned down the Q. And then for the second filter, I went ahead and grabbed a peak filter, set the frequency to around 377 Hertz. Went ahead and turned the Q down a little bit. Then I boosted it by like 6 decibels. Also going to turn down the Q of the high pass filter a little bit more. And then the second effect that I used was a chorus. I turned the feed up to around 37%. And then for the low pass filter, I set it to 443. And the mix, we're just going to leave it at 50%. The next thing I went ahead and added was a delay. I turned the feedback up a little bit to around like 45%. Then I did ping pong delay and turned down the Q, set it to around like 1000 Hertz or so. So right there is pretty good. Then for the left delay, I set it to 1/8 and the right delay is at 1/4. And for the mix, I also set this to 50%. And so it should sound something like this. And then the last effect that I added was a reverb. I turned the size down to about 8%, and then the decay I turned it down to 1.3, So I'm just going to double click and hit 1.3. And then I also went ahead and set the mix for the reverb at 50%. Then I'm also going to go ahead and just turn up the master all the way, since the effects kind of push back the volume of the sound. And that's pretty much going to be it for the preset. So the final thing should sound something like this. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and add a utility, just because it's still a little low in volume. So yeah, it should sound like this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Adios.